Hello and welcome to Blackwatch International. My name is Mintberry Buddha, and in this training video we will be looking at the Vector21 rangefinder and the MicroDAGR GPS and their use in both navigating and targeting. Both the Vector21 and MicroDAGR are advanced pieces of navigation equipment. They can be important for getting precise understanding of distance to a target and navigating to it, and can also make it very easy to obtain target coordinates for calling in fire support. The Vector can be used for more than just finding the range to a target. It can provide advanced information about the target and can also interface directly with the MicroDAGR. The MicroDAGR, in turn, is an excellent on-screen source of navigational information. The two can be connected, which allows the Vector to communicate target information directly to the Dagger. This video is separated into 3 sections. We will look at Vector functions, MicroDAGR functions, and finally, how to connect the two together. The Vector is operated with 2 buttons, an azimuth key and a range key. By default, these buttons are set as the Tab and R keys, respectively. With the controls covered, let's start using the Vector. You can get an azimuth, otherwise known as a bearing, by holding the azimuth key until a red angle is displayed on screen. The default azimuth unit is degrees, so the BTR is at 72 degrees. You can obtain the direct range, also known as slope distance, to a target by aiming at it and holding the range button down until a red targeting reticule appears, then releasing again. The distance is measured in meters by default and will appear as a red number on the sight. In this case, the BTR-80 is at a slope distance of 310 meters. The Vector can also be used to determine horizontal distance and azimuth between 2 remote targets. This is a great feature to use when you need to inform a friendly unit of hostile activity nearby that they may be unable to see themselves directly. In this scenario, a friendly Abrams, callsign Warpig, is on the hill south of town behind a tree line. I want to inform Warpig of the BTR inside town, and I'd also like to relay bearing and distance to ensure the crew understand the distance and proximity of the threat. To start with, I center my view on Warpig and hold the azimuth key, tapping the range key once. If done correctly, the Vector should display a red P1 above. P1 indicates that the Vector has stored the first point. Then, while still holding down my azimuth, I pan my sights over to the second point, in this case the BTR, and release the key. The Vector will display 2 values, the bearing of point 2 from point 1 in degrees on the left and the horizontal distance between them in meters on the right. Using the Vector in this way can be particularly handy in scenarios such as this, where a friendly unit has line of sight blockers that prevent them from accurately understanding the presence of enemy threats. Where friendly units may be unaware of nearby advancing hostiles whose movements are concealed, providing direction and distance can provide your allies with a quicker and more concrete understanding of the threat than an abstract set of coordinates. However, there are 2 things to consider when providing this information. The first thing to remember is that the Vector will give you a bearing from the first point to the second, meaning that if I want to inform Warpig of the bearing of a threat, I must mark Warpig as P1, otherwise the bearing will be flipped. Secondly, the distance displayed is only horizontal distance, as opposed to a slope distance. A horizontal distance only regards yourself and your target as being on a 2D plane, in the same way that simply measuring a distance between 2 points on a paper map means ignoring the height difference between them. In the case of Warpig and the enemy BTR, there is a significant height difference, and this causes there to be a noticeable difference in length between slope and horizontal distances. Now let's look at the MicroDAGR. The MicroDAGR is normally issued to fireteam leaders and above in higher tech armies, and is issued in conjunction with your standard GPS. The default button for accessing your MicroDAGR is the home key. Pressing this once will display the MicroDAGR in the bottom right corner of your screen. Alternatively, you can use the ACE self-interaction menu and choose Configure MicroDAGR in the equipment menu. To access its functions, press the home key again to enlarge the display. There are 3 main tabs on the MicroDAGR screen that can be switched by pressing the icons at the bottom. This first tab displays essential information. Your own coordinates are displayed in the top right corner as 10 figure coordinates. Just below this, elevation is displayed in meters above sea level. On the line below this, your current facing or bearing alongside your current travelling speed. Below this is the in-game time and date. The second tab is simply a compass tab. The thin blue line at the top of the compass indicates your facing, and you can read this either using the inner degree markings or the outer milliradians. The third tab is a live map. When on this screen, you can pan around the map by holding the left mouse button on the screen and dragging the view around. If you do move the map around, it's a good idea to press the centering button in order to center and lock the screen on your position once again. This will ensure that the screen dynamically follows you once you become mobile, rather than remaining static. As you can see, there will be times when there is too much information on the map screen, making it hard to make use of the MicroDAGR when it is just a small screen. Using the zoom buttons will make it much clearer at the cost of limiting how much of the map is fitted on screen. Additionally, clicking on the map tab again whilst it is still up will switch between topographical and satellite displays. Depending on the terrain, you may find one view clearer than the other. The MicroDAGR has a lot of features available through an additional menu screen. To access this, click on the signal icon in the top left corner of the screen. The Waypoints button allows you to set coordinate waypoints. On this screen, you can add and delete waypoints, as well as selecting an active waypoint in order to ease navigation. Let's add a waypoint. I'm going to use the coordinates of this nearby compound, to the southeast. Coordinates can be typed in by either pressing the on-screen buttons or using your keyboard's numpad. The MicroDAGR accepts up to 10-digit grid coordinates. With our new waypoint added to the MicroDAGR, we can now set it as active. The active waypoint is displayed on the compass screen as a red line. We can see it's to our southeast at a bearing of 106 degrees and approximately 1.6 kilometers away. In addition, the map screen can display your waypoints. Ensure that Show Waypoints on the map is set to on. You can click the on-off button to toggle this. When the Vector21 and MicroDAGR are connected, detailed target information can be sent from the Vector to the GPS screen. To connect the two, first bring up the MicroDAGR configuration screen. Now, click on the signal icon in the top left corner to open the menu. On this screen, click on the Connect to screen button. Now close the MicroDAGR's configuration menu and aim at your target using your Vector. With the target centered, press and hold both the range and azimuth keys simultaneously. Once the red reticule appears, release the keys and lower your Vector. You should now see the coordinates of your target displayed on the bottom half of your MicroDAGR screen. These coordinates are displayed as 10-figure coordinates. Being able to get accurate coordinates of a target instantly is useful in a great number of ways, but perhaps one of the most obvious applications is when calling in fire support. However, as a brief recap, 10-figure grid coordinates are accurate to 1 square meter, 8 figures are accurate to 10, and 6 figures are accurate to 100 square meters. When sending coordinates over radio for fire support, in most cases it is advisable to simply use 6-figure grid references, as the ordnance being used will likely be high explosive, meaning 100 square meter coordinates will be accurate enough, and in most cases the person receiving the coordinates wants the information as simple and fast as possible. To do this, just read the first 3 numbers of each line. Eastings first, Northings second. This concludes our lesson on using the Vector and MicroDAGR. You should now be able to use the Vector to obtain range, azimuth and distance information between 2 remote targets, configure the MicroDAGR for navigating and setting waypoints, and, finally, connect the 2 devices to get accurate coordinates of targets. Both devices have even more functionality not covered by this video, and if you are interested, I recommend you check the links to the ACE3 documentation on both, found in the description of this video. The usage of both these tools is directly linked to land navigation, so if you haven't already, we recommend that you take a look at our video on land navigation. As mentioned before, connecting these devices will make you a great spotter for indirect fire, so you may also want to check out our video on mortar training to see how you can directly apply these skills. Thank you for watching our video on Vector and MicroDAGR functionality. If this video was useful, be sure to give it a like, subscribe for more Arma 3 content, and check out our website for more information on Blackwatch International.